welcome to the deep dive. Today our exploration takes us to a really fascinating corner of northeastern Thailand, Kalasin province. Imagine a place, maybe 520 kilometers from Bangkok, where you find this authentic rural Thai life alongside a deep spiritual heritage and, incredibly, some major dinosaur fossil sites.
Yeah, it's kind of Thailand's hidden story, isn't it? This unexpected mix of, ancient prehistory dinosaurs and this living, breathing Isan culture.
Exactly. It's that intersection that's so interesting.
Right. How deep time and human tradition kind of meet in one place.
And that's what we want to explore in this deep dive.
Well,
We've looked closely at our source, Kalasin Uncovered, to pull out the key insights for you.
we'll be covering quite a bit.
We will, from the dinosaur finds,
Yeah.
the amazing Phrae Wa silk, the distinct Isan culture language, music, food, Buddhism, plus the festivals, nature, local life, and, how Kalasin is changing today.
Okay, where should we start? History.
Let's do it. Back to Kalasin's beginnings.
Well, the history goes way back. There's evidence of settlements from over, say, 3,000 years ago.
Wow.
But it's the much, much older residents that really put Kalasin on the map globally.
Dinosaurs, of course. It's called the dinosaur capital of Thailand for a reason.
Definitely. And the key site is Phu Kum Khao.
Right.
It dates back to the early Cretaceous period, so roughly 130 million years ago.
And the finds there have been pretty spectacular.
Absolutely astounding. We're talking nearly complete skeletons of huge sauropods, the long-necked ones.
Incredible.
It's a paleontological treasure trove, really. And it tells us so much, like Fuyangosaurus sirenhorne, that's Thailand's iconic dinosaur, maybe 15 meters long.
Gives you a sense of the herbivores roaming around back then.
Exactly. And then you have predators, too, like Cymosaur sutithorni, which had this sort of crocodile-like snout.
A carnivore.
Right. And even a primitive bird-like dinosaur, Canoremimus conkinensis.
So it's not just one type of find.
Not at all. It really shows the diversity of life back then. Puts Kalasin up there with famous spots in Mongolia or China,
It's amazing to think about.
And
And they built a museum to showcase all this.
They did. The Sirentor Museum opened in 2008. It's actually the largest dinosaur museum in Southeast Asia.
Wow, the largest.
Yeah. Great for visitors, but also vital for research and education. The life-size models are something else.
Gives you a real sense of scale, I bet.
Totally. And they have the actual fossils, interactive stuff. Makes it really engaging.
Okay, so jumping forward, quite a few million years, human civilizations start making their mark. Varavati.
Yeah, the Dvaravati influence is there, 6th to 11th centuries, mostly seen in older settlements, some Buddhist artifacts, but maybe more visible is the Khmer Empire's legacy.
That's 9th to 13th centuries, right?
Correct. And you can see that in ruins like Phrae, that Yaku.
Yeah.
Real physical reminders.
And then came the Lao influence.
That was really significant. As the Khmer declined around the 14th, 15th centuries, you had Lao migration and the rise of the Lanzang kingdom.
And that shaped the Isan identity we see today.
Profoundly, especially the language. Most people in Kalasin today have Lao Isan roots, and you hear it in the everyday language.
Fascinating layers of history. And then it became a Thai province.
Yes, late 18th century under Siamese administration. For a long time, it stayed largely agrarian,
A rural community.
Pretty much. Tightly knit, maybe slower economic development compared to other areas. The big shift in recognition really came with those dinosaur discoveries in the 70s and 80s.
Leading up to the museum.
Exactly. That put Kalasin on the map for cultural tourism, gave a real boost to local pride.
Which brings us nicely to the Isan culture itself. It's more than just history, it's alive.
Very much so. It's about strong communities, a unique language, vibrant arts, deep spiritual roots, all shaped by life in the Northeast.
So the language first. It's a Lao dialect, but written in Thai script.
That's right. It really shows those historical links to Lanzang. Standard Thai is used officially, but Isan is the language of home, the market, friends. It's a key part of their identity.
And the music and dance must be quite expressive.
Oh, absolutely. You have Morlam, that's lyrical singing, often with the khan, the bamboo mouth organ, tells stories about life, love, struggles.
Storytelling through song.
Yeah. And then there's Lam Floen, which is more modern, upbeat. You hear it a lot at festivals. The dances are just as dynamic, colorful costumes, really graceful.
Okay, I'm getting hungry thinking about it.
Yeah.
Let's talk food. Isan cuisine has a big reputation.
It really does. Get ready for bold flavors, spicy, sour, salty, and lots of fresh local stuff.
So signature dishes, what do we need to know?
Okay, number 1, Som Tam, green papaya salad. But in Kalasin, you might find it with fermented crab or fish, adds this deep umami flavor.
Regional twists.
Definitely. Then there's larb, minced meat, salad, pork, chicken, whatever, with lime, mint, roasted rice powder for texture, lots of herbs, maybe some chili leaves, or that fermented fish again for authenticity.
Sounds amazing. And sticky rice is essential.
Absolutely essential. Kauniao, eaten by hand, it's the perfect vehicle for all those strong flavors. Oh, and gayang, grilled chicken. You can't miss that.
My mouth is watering. Now, Buddhism is central to Thailand, but how does it play out specifically in Isan, in Kalasin?
Theravada Buddhism is the spiritual backbone, for sure. Every village usually has a wat, a temple, but it's more than just for worship.
A community center, almost.
Exactly. Sometimes schools are there. It's a focal point. And the tradition of young boys ordaining as novice monks is still strong.
Instilling values early on.
Right. And there are beautiful temples like Wat Klang with its murals or Wat Phutawat showing that mix of Khmer and Laos styles.
The source also mentioned animist beliefs alongside Buddhism.
Yes, especially in rural areas.
Right.
Beliefs in spirits, nature spirits. You see spirit houses outside homes, ancestor worship with offerings. It's woven together quite seamlessly.
And the festivals sound like a big part of life, too.
Huge. Bun Bang Phrae, the rocket festival in May. It's incredible. Huge homemade rockets launched to ask for rain. Lots of music, dancing, processions.
Sounds lively.
Very. Then you have Songkran, Thai New Year with all the water splashing for cleansing. Loy Krathong with the floating lanterns. And importantly, these feel very genuine, very community-driven, not just for tourists.
It paints a picture of a really rich, interconnected culture. Let's shift gears to something else. Kalasin is famous for weaving, especially Phrae Wa silk.
Ah, yes, Phrae Wa. Often called the queen of Thai silks. It's just exquisite.
Why is it so highly regarded?
Well, it's hand-woven, incredibly intricate patterns, vibrant colors, luxurious feel, but it's also deeply tied to ancestry, the environment, spirituality for the weavers.
And there's a specific village known for it, Ban Phan.
That's the one. Ban Phan in Ratchaburi district is the heartland. The skills are passed down generation after generation within families there.
And the patterns themselves, what do they represent?
The name Phrae Wa refers to the silk in the patterns. Historically, it was for royalty, ceremonies, but also a community symbol. The patterns often use floral motifs, geometric shapes, sometimes mythological figures reflecting local beliefs. Weaving it is almost a spiritual practice for many.
The process sounds painstaking.
It really is. Hand-spinning the raw silk, then dyeing it using natural things, indigo, turmeric, jasmine petals for color.
Natural dyes.
Yeah. And then weaving on traditional wooden looms. Some complex patterns can take weeks, even months, for one piece. It's often a family affair, women usually leading the weaving.
And it's received national recognition.
It has. In 2011, it was recognized as a national heritage craft, a huge step. It's also designated intangible cultural heritage, vital for preserving Isan identity. You see it in royal courts, fashion shows now.
Has that global attention helped the local weavers?
It's brought opportunities, definitely. More demand from tourists, designers, but that also brings challenges making sure production is sustainable, that artisans get fair prices.
So there are efforts to manage that.
Yes, local groups are working on promoting eco-friendly methods, fair trade. It's crucial for the future.
Absolutely. Needs that support. Now, speaking of preservation, Kalasin also has some beautiful natural spots, right?
It certainly does. Beyond the culture, you've got mountains, lakes, forests. It's becoming more known for ecotourism.
Like the Phu Phan Mountains. The source mentioned them as a northern boundary.
They are. A majestic range. Ecologically important, culturally significant, too. Phu Phan National Park has forests, wildlife, wild boars, gibbons, deer, lots of birds. Great viewpoints like Khao Phu Phan Peak.
Wildlife sanctuaries, too.
Yes, Waisai Wildlife Sanctuary is part of it. And you find communities living there, temples like Wat Phu Phan tucked away.
Then there's Lampo Dam. Sounds important for water.
Hugely important. A massive reservoir in Nakhon. Vital for irrigation, agriculture. But it's also become a spot for recreation, boating, fishing, picnics, bird watching. Good for the ecosystem and sustainable development.
And Khao Phai Ma. That sounded like an interesting mix of nature and myth.
It is. A sacred hill in Yang Talat. You've got interesting rock formations, waterfalls in the rainy season, forests, wildlife. But local folklore says it's the resting place of a Phayan Naga, a mythical serpent king.
So, Buddhist and animist beliefs converging again.
Exactly. Gives the place a special spiritual feel.
It seems like there's a real effort towards responsible tourism there.
There is balancing tourism with conservation, community-based tourism, environmental education, supporting sustainable farming near these natural areas. It's a growing focus.
Let's talk about the daily life then. The source really stressed the connection to tradition to the land.
Very much so. Life revolves around the seasons, the land, family. Farming and fishing are still central to the economy and culture.
Especially rice farming.
Oh, yeah. Rice, particularly sticky rice, isn't just food, it's symbolic, used in ceremonies. The farming cycle follows the rains, ties into festivals like Bun Bang Phrae. You see a mix of traditional family labor and some modern methods.
And fishing, with Lampao Dam nearby, must be significant too.
Definitely a key livelihood source of protein. Traditional nets and traps are still used, but there's also a move towards sustainable fishing and aquaculture farming fish like plechon or plenin.
And the community bonds sound incredibly strong.
They really are. Extended families provide huge support. There's this tradition called rot fat. Basically, neighbors helping each other out with big tasks like harvesting shows real solidarity.
A kind of shared labor system.
Exactly. And women play crucial roles managing households, but also in weaving, selling crafts, contributing economically.
The source mentioned migration, though, younger people leaving for cities.
That's a common trend in rural Thailand, young people seeking opportunities in Bangkok or Khon Kaen. It creates challenges, like an aging population back home.
Are there efforts to keep young people there?
Yes, promoting education in sustainable farming, highlighting opportunities in ecotourism, trying to create viable local careers.
So it's about finding that balance again between tradition and modern economic needs.
Precisely. Diversifying into tourism, agro-industry, eco-friendly businesses like the silk trade, but doing it in a way that preserves the core culture and way of life.
Okay, let's circle back to the food for a bit more detail. We know it's bold, but what's the essence of Isan cuisine?
It's a true reflection of the land, history, community, aromatic, spicy, using what's available, and very communal meals are meant to be shared.
And sticky rice is the absolute base.
Yeah.
How is it typically made?
Usually steamed in woven bamboo baskets. That gives it a particular texture and a subtle aroma. Eaten by hand, scoops up the other dishes.
We mentioned some tam variations. What makes the Kalasin style stand out?
Well, the base is pounded green papaya, chili, garlic, lime, fish sauce, sugar, peanuts. But locally, that addition of Phrae Wa fermented fish, or maybe some smoked fish or dried shrimp, gives it that deep, funky, savory Isan character.
And larb. More detail on that.
Finely minced meat, often pork or chicken, tossed with fresh mint, cilantro, green onions, lime leaves, fish sauce, chili powder, lime juice, and crucially, paukua roasted ground sticky rice. That gives it a nutty taste and texture. Kalasin versions might add local herbs, maybe young chili leaves for extra freshness.
Sounds complex and fresh. What about tom sab soup?
Ah, tom sab. It's tangy, spicy, really refreshing. Usually pork or beef ribs, flavored with lemongrass, galangal, lime leaves, chilies, kaffir lime zest, maybe tamarind for sourness. Some versions might add pickled greens or mushrooms.
And given Lampao Dam, fish must feature heavily.
Absolutely. Freshwater fish like tilapia, catfish, snakehead are common. They're often simply grilled over charcoal or fried or put into soups. And that Som Tam and Larb we mentioned uses fermented fish sauce. Fish cakes are popular snacks too.
And eating together is key.
Very much so. A typical meal has sticky rice, various dishes, dips, fresh vegetables, maybe grilled meat, all shared. Eating sticky rice by hand is part of that communal, connected experience.
Okay, so looking ahead now. Modern Kalasin. It sounds like a province really navigating change.
It is. Trying to balance that rich heritage with modernization, urbanization, technology, tourism. It's a dynamic time.
And education is a big part of the plan.
A major focus. Improving schools, developing skills for tourism, eco-business, tech, alongside traditional farming knowledge. Kalasin University is important, and digital learning is opening things up too.
Tourism development seems key for the future strategy.
Yes, focusing on both cultural tourism, leveraging the dinosaurs, temples, Isan traditions, festivals, and ecotourism.
Hiking, birdwatching, boating near the mountains and the dam.
Exactly. And agrotourism too, like farm stays or visiting silk weavers, but always with an eye on sustainability. That's crucial.
How are they approaching sustainability more broadly?
There's a push for sustainable farming, organic methods, water conservation, especially around Lampao Dam, and exploring green infrastructure, renewable energy like solar.
And the younger generation sounds quite involved.
Absolutely vital. Many are bringing back new skills, ideas for sustainable farming, handicrafts, ecotourism ventures like guest houses. They're using tech, social media to promote Kalasin too.
So wrapping up our deep dive, Kalasin really emerges as this compelling place. Prehistoric echoes, a vibrant living culture, natural beauty, and this forward look towards development.
That sums it up well. It's a unique mix.
Yeah.
The dinosaurs, the deep Isan roots, that incredible Phrae Wa silk, and this growing focus on responsible ecotourism.
Right.
Really remarkable combination.
It really is. And maybe that leaves us with a final thought for you, the listener. Think about the value of preserving these unique local cultures, like Kalasins, in our interconnected world. How does safeguarding this heritage enrich us all? And what role might we play as travelers or just global citizens in supporting those efforts?
A great question to ponder.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.